And so obviously going into that, you need management commitment to create a platform. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't call you just an IT leader. You're a process leader. Mm-hmm. You're a business guy. You're a consultant. I mean, just IT happens to be the lever you pull on. But having a strong IT leader that understands the importance of creating that scalable platform and a vision of when to invest in the next thing. That's the hard thing. It's never business as usual. You always have to have a vision for what's next. I also wondered, just talking with you the other day, how important the CMO role that can take that and show results from it is to really, I mean, it almost seems like all three are pretty important to get the new co's on the platform to adopt and essentially have faith to dive in, right? Because that ultimately they're either rowing with you or against you.
I would say that's probably an area that I get most excited about is the use cases that we have stood up, we are standing up, and that we have yet to stand up in the marketing area. The whole idea of A/B testing in the campaign management space. A lot of these organizations, made the right plays with media. Television, radio, whatever. The game is changing. There are more organizations like us that are doing some of the things that we're doing. I would submit that we're probably a little bit more ahead of many, if not all of our competitors on what we're doing with data and information. Our data lake and analytical platform that we've made some investment in, and we've got some talented people doing some good work, is fueling our Adobe platform with data, not just from our operating system, but from other orbiting systems that touch the customer in some way. So we're able to bring all of this data together, go through a bronze, silver, gold enrichment process, the normalization, so that we have more homogeneous data across all of our locations than heterogeneous. And then we can then conduct these A/B tests. And if we're doing it for one location and there's a certain campaign that is just driving membership off the charts, we want to bring that to our other locations to A/B test to see if it works in that market.
Yeah. Interesting. How, when were you conscious about going from post-optimization into transformation and then, this whole disruption? I mean, that's where you guys are now. You're on the brink of potentially disrupting this industry through data analytics and what you're doing from a marketing and customer acquisition standpoint.
We are.
Did that just, it's going to be cool to see what happens in the next, few years, but, did the opportunity to be in that role just appear because you had gotten the foundation right and were you conscious about going through those phases, or did they just kind of become apparent as you were exiting them?
I was conscious of getting through transformation, and I think Megan was as well, which is why we kicked off our digital transformation strategy in January 2019. We had some help. We brought in some external party consulting organization to assist us with kind of getting our thoughts around not necessarily this idea of transformation in the home services industry, but looking at transformation in other industries and what has worked in B2C and what has not worked. Because I learned a long time ago when I started to cut my teeth in M&A at Anderson Consulting, and we took the model that we used at Nations Bank, we lifted that M&A methodology model, and we brought it to HCSC right down the road when we merged Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and Texas.
Yes.
And so we used an industry model that banking made successful and lifted it, brought it into the healthcare space, tweaked it because it's not a one-to-one match. And it was highly successful for Illinois because they acquired Texas, then New Mexico, then Oklahoma, and other blue brands.
Your first big platform.
It was. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I'd never heard that story before.
Blue Chip. Blue Chip was the system that we were migrating everyone to.
Interesting.
It goes back quite a ways. But I think that, Megan and I, and that's the other thing we talked about, the marketing and technology partnership. I mean, luckily we're two leaders that have a history of checking our egos at the door.
Yep.
At the end of the day, if she is not successful with her goals, I can't count my goals as being achieved, because a lot of what she needs from IT comes from our organization, comes from IT, right?
That's right.
And so we're in this together, and I'm optimistic that we're going to get through disruption together. We've got a lot of work to do still. We're not slowing down.
Yeah, no, you're not.
And we've been highly successful. Again, we've got Ken Haynes, Paul Smith as our COO, Scott Cannell as our CFO. We've got a great C-suite team, and we've been very successful at what we call our greenfield plants. That is, looking at a metropolitan area that we don't have a presence in, and taking one of the brands that's closest to that metropolitan area and planting it there as a seed, right? And building. We've done it, in Austin. We've done it in Tucson. We've done it in Orlando. Coming to a city near you.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
That's great. It's a really cool story.